friends, don't let friends, use strip. Hi, welcome to Canisperator Christmas. Before I get started with this episode, please indulge me for a moment. I wanted to tell you something. So back in October, we had some changes at our company. The president of the company came to me and wanted me to look into what it would take for us to get AWS partner status. There's benefits to being an AWS partner, and so I started kind of checking into it. What is AWS? Well, if you don't know, AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. Now, most of you are familiar with Amazon.com, the retail website. Same company. Now, several years back, Amazon started offering what they call web services. Now they're targeted at businesses. It really had nothing to do with the Amazon.com website. Over the years, these services have evolved to the point now where they are the Gartner Group Magic Quadrant leaders in cloud services or stuff on the internet. So it's AWS up here, Microsoft down here, and Google is there somewhere down here, I guess. If you're in information technology, you probably know what I'm talking about. If not, don't worry about it. Just know that AWS is the big gorilla in the space providing enterprise class services. So one of the requirements for becoming an AWS partner is that the business needs to employ a certain number of AWS certified people. Now I've got an interest in these things, so I decided to start studying for the kind of the first major exam, which is the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate. Now they have the associate, it's kind of the entry-level exam, and then they have the professional certification, which is generally, from what I understand, harder questions, but it just means that you've been doing it a little bit longer, and so you have a better understanding, a broader range of all the services that they offer. So anyway, early in November, I started studying. Kind of why I've been a little distracted for a month or so. Now, my goal was to sit for the exam before Thanksgiving, kind of get it out of the way, have the rest of the year kind of play with lights or whatever I wanted to do. But I took some practice tests and really wasn't comfortable with my level of understanding, so I didn't take it and just decided to study a little bit more. A couple more weeks, I felt like I was ready, wanted to get it done before Christmas. And so I went ahead and scheduled the exam for Saturday, December 14th at 9 a.m. If you know anything about me, 9 a.m. is not cool, okay? So I sat for the test, took the test, finished, got the congratulatory message, and left to go get my propane bottles refilled. Then doubt set in. Was it congratulations you passed, or congratulations you finished? Two kind of different outcomes there. The results aren't available immediately. You have to wait up to 5 days for them to grade the exam. And so all day Saturday it was, okay, did I pass? You passed, you passed. Did I really pass? And I had told the president of my company Friday that I was going to be taking the test Saturday. So again, I'm like, so did I pass? Or yeah, you passed. Don't worry about it. You passed. So it was driving me a little crazy. And so I decided to work on my lights. Now that was like having a nice warm blanket wrapped around me. Not because I was running the lights at 100%, but just because I was in my element. So Sunday morning, I got up, headed straight to the computer, and logged in to see if I could get the results of my tests, and they were available. The old man still got it. Now, you probably don't want me to design your online banking infrastructure just yet. Give me a couple months for that. Um, but I did go through one of the wild rides tutorials that AWS has on their websites. They have sample projects for you to implement so that you can get more familiar with how everything works. Um, Now, this tutorial is really kind of a silly website. It's where you request a ride share from a unicorn. So again, silly example, but it takes you through setting up static web pages for a website, creating a REST API, using an API gateway, setting up a database, all on the AWS infrastructure. So I mean, it's the sites that you use every day are kind of made up of these components. So it's it's legit. Now, to prepare for the exam, I took a course on linuxacademy.com. They were recently acquired by a cloud guru, so over the next year, I'm sure there'll be some fun going on there. But the courses are still available. They have hands-on labs, practice tests, in addition to the course material. Adrian Cantrill was the instructor. He teaches both the Solutions Architect Associate and Professional exam. Great job. Highly recommend his courses if you are looking to get certified. Now, I will likely go ahead and get the two professional certs that they have. One is Solutions Architect, and the other one I believe is a developer or DevOps, something like that, to kind of round out my education, and the Machine Learning Specialty cert. Specialty or speciality? Speciality sounds more important. Probably because I say specialty most of the time. If you say speciality, do you also say special or special? Anyway, the goal is to do all that next year. I am going to enjoy my Christmas break. So, I passed my test, and my professional sports team, though they lost the last 3 games, also won Sunday. So I'm very happy. Good day. Jim, thank you very much. The camera crew also appreciates your gift. Strip. So what is wrong with this stuff? Strip. These are this is kind of like circuit board on a metal substrate. It's got LEDs on the circuit board. I use it in my arches. Makes a very nice effect on the arches. The arches are really easy to get into if I need to change the strip out, so no big deal. This wreath, on the other hand, not so easy to get into, and this will probably be its last year in my display because I actually have something else that I'm going to put in its place. So this one is just going to have to bother me this year. So what's the deal with these? So first off, they're bendy. If you have a joint that you don't want to crease this, it's a lot more fidgety than something like these or something like these. It is also, it's a strip of metal basically, so it acts as a little bit of an antenna. I used to have these going around my garage door, and I noticed that it would kind of attenuate the garage door signal, so I'd have to be much closer to the garage door to get the opener to work. The other thing is when they manufacture this, and I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there's a little strip right there. So when they get to the end of one of these strips, they just solder them together. And so you may have a piece of strip, like I did in one of my arches, where the little solder kind of breaks and the thing just comes apart. So that was one of the repair things that I had to do on my arches this year, was just kind of reflow the solder. And this is not the strip that I put in the arch, obviously. It's out there in the yard, but I just had to reflow solder to rejoin those two pieces of strip. So that's the main part of why we say stay away from it if it's your first year. Now, if you want to, you've got some experience behind lighting, you've been doing it a while, and you want to put up with this, then by all means go ahead. But it's not something that I would recommend for new people. Stick with either these or these, because they are, waterproof. They're just easier to deal with, especially if you have one of these go out, you can cut it out and replace it. With that, it's a little more involved. So it's cutting and replacing, but now you're cutting and replacing this whole metal strip, and it's really just kind of a pain. And so we caution you to stay away from it your first year. All of the strip that I have received has this little silicone covering around it, and some of the ends look like they're sealed, but it doesn't seem to do a very good job. So you can get water in there. Sorry about that. If you need to use it, make sure that it's easy to get to, because you may need to maintain it more than you would the other kinds of pixels. So that's why we say that. I actually stole that saying from Keith Wesley. I saw him respond to somebody in, I guess it was the Facebook group, and he said, somebody was asking about strip, and he said, friends don't let friends use strip. And so that's just part of it. It's just more to tinker with, more that can go wrong, and especially if this is your first year of running pixels, there's plenty of other stuff for you to learn without having to deal with this stuff. One other thing about strip is that the strips that I have are the only pixels that are a different color order than all of the other pixels that I have. So I have had this come up, like, well, all my pixels are blue except one set of pixels, and those are the wrong color. How do I know how to set them? So here's how you figure it out. Go to the string ports page on your controller and set the order, the color order for RGB on the string that is behaving strangely, and make a little note that says RGB. Okay? Now, back to the test page and send a red ramp. So these are red, these are blue. So you put a B under the R on your little note there. And then change the ramp to a green ramp. So these are green, these are red. So we'd put an R on our little note. And just to prove that all of this works, we're sending blue, but we're getting green. So here's our little decoder. So we're sending red, we're getting blue, we're sending green, but we're getting red, and we're sending blue, but we're getting green. So we need to change the order on the string ports page. Go back to string ports. Change the order for those pixels, and this is string 10, I believe, to BRG, and save it. Go back to test. Now, see, there's our little color code thing. So we changed it to BRG. So now when we send blue, we get blue. When we send green, we get green. When we send red, we get red. So now when we do our normal colors, we get the correct colors. I'll go back and change this to RGB, and we'll save it. Now you notice that white works because all lights on is white. So white is correct, but none of the other colors are. So that's a way you can tell which color order your pixels are running and make the appropriate changes. I had planned on putting this matrix in one of my neighbor's yard and just run it as a remote prop. That didn't work out this year, so I'm just running it as a remote prop in my own yard just to see how the master remote relationship works and if there's any timing issues, slightly, but it's not really that objectionable. And as you can I was planning on putting that remote matrix in one of my neighbor's yards. That didn't work out, and it's probably good because that side of the yard is pretty barren. I have nothing that's really lighting that up. I mean, I have one matrix and a wreath, but the wall washer is gone and the two chroma poles are gone, which kind of lit that area up. That's all going to change. I did order and receive some of this stuff from Biscoyo. It's, I don't know, 90, is it 96 inches long? So it holds 4 pixels across and I think 48 all the way down. You're going to be able to see that. So pretty stoked about using this for actually both of those props. I was thinking about using them this year, but I don't have enough spare pixels. So we'll do it next year. I also bought some Coro trees. Actually, I got a variety of trees to see which ones I liked the best. And won't put them up this year, but I have my my prototype set, and as soon as I place my Pixel order next year, I will populate those and figure out which ones I like the best and order a bunch of those, and then use those for that side of the yard. So I think next year it's going to be awesome. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you are still having trouble with your setup, please log into the X-Lights Zoom rooms, xlights.org, and just click on the Zoom room thing. There's people hanging out in there. They can help you out. They give you live interaction. Helps if you have a microphone, but there's also chat available, I believe. But it's just people that are very smart at all this stuff, and help you out if you're having some sort of challenge. We still have plenty of time. The normal people probably won't be putting in their lights up until this coming weekend, so should be good. As always, if you have any questions, leave them below. Other than that, Merry Christmas, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Now, I shot an email.
So I got 6 of these, and so I got 5 of these when I started relaxing a little bit, and then BAM!